Hey there. Today I'm going to do an experiment because the topic of today's video is how to speak authentically. I think speaking authentically, or in other words, speaking from the heart, is the key to success for starting a podcast, for interpersonal relationships, for social interactions, for public speaking, for giving presentations, for connecting with people. Really is what it is. Speaking from the heart is what draws people to you. If you imagine 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 a podcast, and one of the hosts feels like they're reading from a script, like they've practiced everything they're going to say. It feels like a robot. It feels like there's no heart there, like there's no connection to a human. Whereas the other host of the podcast is just kind of talking on the fly. You can feel these differences, and people are always attracted to the one that is speaking from the heart because you can detect when people are fake. You can detect when you're being manipulated, and that's kind of what it is when you're not speaking authentically, is you're planning what you're going to say. You are tailoring your presentation as a person, like how you're presenting as a person, so that you can get a certain result. And people can pick up on that, and that's a form of manipulation. And so today, this experiment that I'm going to run is I'm only doing this in one take. So if I mess up, if I lose my train of thought, that's what you're getting. So I'm not going to restart the video. And I'm just going to talk about what it means to speak authentically, how to speak authentically. That's really the biggest part. That's really the biggest thing, is figuring out how to speak authentically. And so this video is coming straight from nowhere, really. The only planning I put into this video is I think I want to talk about speaking authentically, and I'm going to do it in one take. That was really pretty much it. So, to get into the details a little bit. So, how do you attract people? What, getting people to like you, whatever. How does that work? How do you speak from your heart when you're trapped in your brain? So often in social interactions, if you have anxiety, social anxiety, if you're a people pleaser, then before social interactions, we are rehearsing through scenarios that could happen. You're going to meet your partner's parents. You're imagining in your head what is the circumstances going to happen and how you're going to respond to it. And you do this over and over and over and over again to make sure that you have planned all of the perfect responses for the situations. And what this does is when you get to your partner's parents' house, you're like, hey, it's so nice to meet you. You raised a great son. And it's like they will pick up on the fact that you're kind of like something is off because it feels like you're speaking from a script. People can feel that. But how do you get out of that? Because so many of us have been trained to try to perfect the way that we are presenting ourselves to others through trauma, through bullying, through rejection. Our brains have learned in order to prevent rejection from happening, in order to prevent being excluded from a group, we need to make sure everything we say is perfect and that it's coming across exactly how we want it to. And this is creating a mask, and it's keeping you from connecting with your heart. Instead, you're connecting with your brain to other people. And when you're connecting with your brain to other people, it's hollow, and you can't even see in their eyes, really. So what we do is we move from the brain, from this script that we've created in our heads, we move from the brain, and when you start speaking from the heart, it transfers down here and connects to the person. So, how does this work? How do we do this? Well, in the moment, if you say you have an important social interaction coming up, an important meeting with a boss or something, sometimes you just can't help but pre-plan everything you're going to say, running through. Like, say, in this example, you didn't quite catch yourself in the moment. You find yourself running through all the scenarios that could happen, and you just weren't able to stop yourself. Then you get to the social interaction and you start going, you start the script that you've planned for yourself. Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Then the way you switch to your heart is in that moment, connect to something real inside of you. Because what you're saying when you're communicating with your brain, what you're saying is not actually real in this moment. What you're connecting to is what you were feeling 15 minutes ago, an hour ago, a day ago. You're not connecting to something that's real in this moment right now. You're connecting to something outside of this moment. And that's where the inauthenticity is. You're connecting, you're channeling words from somewhere up in this ether of the infinite mind. You're not channeling words from the heart. And so how you make that switch is you pause, take a breath, and connect to what you're feeling right now. So I have been kind of nervous recently about making videos. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's like kind of a lot of pressure, and I want things to be I want things to be impactful, really. I want to do a good job. I want my words to mean something. And it's hard when, like, I don't know how to balance planning a video, what I'm going to say, and just filming it. Because sometimes when I just film a video, I get self-conscious about what I say because it's not like following a certain track, or it's not, okay. So that was me connecting to my heart right now. And I could keep going with that. But that is an example of in the moment pausing. If you're like, I feel like I've already planned this, I don't want to be speaking from a script. What am I feeling right now? And so in a social interaction, say, if you find yourself, okay, actually, I'm going to use the example of if you have a conflict with your partner. A lot of times, if we have conflicts with our partner, we are running through all the scenarios of what we're going to say so that we can figure out how to get our point across. Before we even have the confrontation, say you want to talk to your partner about the fact that you feel like they haven't been giving you a whole lot of attention recently. You're going through all the scenarios that could happen of when you approach your partner, when you bring up the topic, what you think you should say in order for them to receive it well. You're running through all these scenarios. And then once you get to the moment of the interaction where you're talking to your partner about what is wrong to you, then you're speaking from a script in your head, and then your partner's probably speaking from a script in their head to defend themselves, and then it's two heads, bong, 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 and there's no resolution that can come because your hearts aren't in it. And so to go with this example, you've been planning all the things you're going to say, you get into the moment, and you start talking. You're like, hey, I feel like you haven't been providing much attention, giving me much attention, and I think you, like, I want you to give me more attention. And you're like, wait, okay, this conversation isn't going anywhere, they're not receiving this. Let me connect to my heart. What am I feeling right now? Hey, I've been really nervous to have this conversation, so I'm super anxious right now because this is really important to me. This is something I really care about. I really care about you, and I'm really scared that you're not going to receive this well, which is why I'm so anxious, and I'm afraid that that's affecting my words, and I'm afraid that this anxiety I'm feeling is going to keep us from finding a resolution. But really, finding a resolution is what's most important to me. So, can we talk about this for a sec? You see how much more genuine this is? That was me sharing my heart. Sharing, I'm feeling this right now. Please, can you help me come to a resolution so we can work through this together? As opposed to using this script you've created in your head. Hey, this needs to change. I've been having a really hard time, blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does because I can't hear you. But that's kind of what I wanted to share today. because speaking from your heart can bring you success in your job, in your relationships, in your dreams of whatever you want to do. Speaking from the heart really changes everything because people pick up on it and people are really drawn to it. But it takes practice. It takes going into situations unprepared. And that's really scary because what we've learned is when we go into situations unprepared, we fail and people hate us. But that's not true. The defense mechanism that we've created in order to protect ourselves is actually doing the opposite job. It's making people feel less connected to us when we are speaking from our brains and not our hearts. And so it's just practice over and over and over and over again. Stopping yourself when you feel yourself planning or running through scenarios. Take a breath. I don't need to think about this right now. In fact, planning this out is probably actually going to make it go worse. So you trust yourself, you go into the situation with no script, which is scary because you've stopped yourself from planning. In the moment, when the moment comes, take a breath, connect to your heart, and just speak what you're feeling. And that's scary, but it's captivating for people. Because everyone wants to connect to your heart. And so when you do, people want more of that. They want to listen to you. They want to be around you. They're attracted to you. They want to promote you. It's really pretty magical. Because, and this is really what it comes down to, when you're connecting to your heart is your access to God, is your access to the divine plan of the universe. Your heart is how you access this information. Your brain is blocking you from accessing this information. You actually don't know what the person in front of you needs to hear right now. You don't know what they need to hear. You're just trying to figure out what you think they might want to hear. And so you give them that. But it's not actually what they want to hear. What they want to hear, only the universe knows. So you might connect to your heart and say some whack, crazy stuff. You're like, what was that? I don't know where that came from. But it was exactly what that person needed to hear right now. It was exactly what needed to happen for you to further yourself. And so it really comes down to just trust. Trust that the universe, that God, that Spirit is informing your words. And that the words that Spirit is informing you with are taking you exactly where you need to go. I think that's a good way to end it. Thank you so much. Quick little 15-minute video. I am so grateful for you guys, really. You know, I'm just kind of starting out. I mean, I've had a YouTube channel since I was 18, off and on. It was very different back when I was 18. Very different. So I'm really grateful to be entering into this new era. Now that I'm 24, 6 years later, almost 25, 7 years later. And so I'm really grateful for any support that you guys are giving and any comments. I love reading, so thank you for sharing. If it resonates with you, that means so much to hear that my words resonate, because that's literally the only goal of doing this, is to share words that help people. So thank you for supporting me, for supporting this journey that I'm on. This has been super impactful in my life. So much love, and yeah, thanks.